Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit is happy here, back again with Yowamushi Pedal. We are on episode 19, and the last episode, episode 18, was the last episode of the arc revolving around the training centre, the little training camp thing that they had. Everybody aside from Sugimoto, I believe the second years as well, they didn't finish because they injured themselves, right? So I guess they didn't finish either. But yeah, we're three main guys, Onoda, Imaizumi, Naruko, all finished, and those three are the ones that they are actually taking to the Inter High. So yeah, on the first time round, they're going straight there. Now, I can't remember if in the last episode I said, or I talked about exactly what I thought about that, because it is, like, there is like a kind of thing with, you know, like, as a story, is it more compelling that, you know, you let them build up to that and let them experience failure first, as opposed to going straight in? But I think I'm going to leave judgment until Inter High actually starts, like, or I guess until it finishes, you know, because something tells me they're not going to straight up win it, you know. I'll be very fucking surprised if they do. But, you know, there could be twists and turns along the way that I'm not expecting, but the only way we're going to be able to figure that out is when we watch it. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So we're just going to get in episode 19 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. I don't know how the hell he figures out, like, what the fuck he's talking about. But also the fact that Oyagi was completely interrupting him, like, the whole time. Anyway. Alright, so, yeah, episode 19. Kind of like I thought it was, like, the first half, I was like, oh, it's just a transfer episode from, like, arc to arc, right? Because obviously we just ended the training camp, and then I figure we're going into, like, heavy training, maybe leading up to the Inter High. And I thought that's what was going on. But the last half of the episode kind of, I guess, was kind of like a, what do you call it? Maybe like a ramp off. So, like, it's, you know, basically leading into the next set of episodes where there is training and stuff. And they had like a very short sort of mini arc in the, like, where Onoda was obviously feeling pressure. But anyway, from the beginning there, so yeah, the Naruko and Imaizumi, of course, known as the duo, of course, because why wouldn't they be? It's, you know, that whole thing that I mentioned like a few episodes back, where I'm not sure I really like the idea of them two being so, because I mean, they are similar, but they're not, you know what I mean? In terms of like characters, they're not, you know, individual characters, they're not, but like, because they do everything sort of similarly, I don't know if that's a word. Similarly, they do things the same, essentially, right? So yeah, I mean, I personally don't like that. I don't like the fact that they're consistently, you know, like, paired together as that, like, sort of duo, you know. But, you know, I guess it is what it is. I can't change it. But yeah, the Kinjo talk, I figured that, well, obviously there was more to be said, because it got cut off. Todokoro obviously came in before Kinjo could finish, you know. But, you know, he didn't think that Onoda could ever make it up to the 1,000 kilometers in that thing, and I don't really think any of them did, really. You know, somebody who hasn't even been doing this. I mean, when it comes to Imaizumi and Naruko, they're already conditioned, like, to be a cyclist, you know what I mean? They've worked and trained at that for years, whereas Onoda's just kind of coming into it now, you know. I mean, even though Onoda did have his own bike and everything like that, it was a different style bike, and he was doing it, like, for different reasons, you know what I mean? He wasn't conditioning himself the way that Imaizumi and Naruko do. So yeah, but there was, like, obviously other sort of prerequisites to getting into Inter High, obviously, that we knew. And when he immediately said that, like, because there was like a specific quote that he mentioned where it was like, you know, he was like, oh, like, I don't know, you didn't do enough or something like that, or whatever. I guess he mentioned. I'm struggling to try and find it. I mean, he mentions the over lacking technique, decisiveness, experience, and stuff like that, which is obvious. But yeah, I mean, I guess he never said that he wasn't going there. Yeah, I don't know then, but yeah, I mean, I would figure he'd have to, right? Because the second years were injured and Sugimoto never even made it to 1,000 kilometers, so it was like, well, you have to, really. You know what I mean? And he, I had that in mind before it was even said that he was like, Onoda comes out with things that surprise everyone else. So yeah, he is unpredictable in a way. It's like his nickname, I mean, even Kinjo told him that. Like, he renounces them as the unpredictable Onoda, So, I mean, you have to take them even just for that. Even though I get the idea that they're supposed to be as a team, so therefore, it's not like Onoda can simply be there based upon his unpredictability. He still has to have some merit of working with a team in, the basics, you know what I mean? Which he doesn't really have because he doesn't have that experience and the technique and whatever, but it's going to be interesting when we'll get there to see exactly how it goes down. But I'm guessing that's what this, these next lot of episodes are for, is the training beforehand and getting them all working as a unit, So yeah, Onoda obviously didn't know whether he deserved the jersey or whatnot. That added pressure, which, like I said before, was sort of like a mini arc in this episode, where that was. It's basically what the latter half of the episode was talking about. So yeah, it was sort of like a mini arc. He was getting pressure, and one of the things that actually I've really liked, and Naruto does this a lot. Like he doesn't just, because he's a very supportive character for Onoda in terms that he always offers him support in terms of vocalizing sort of help, but it's not the fact that Naruto does it that impresses me. It's what he says, what he actually says, that I really like. So what he said was, when they noticed that obviously everyone had passed Onoda and then he was coming back up, and he was looking down, and Naruto shouted to him to look up, and I think that comes from the idea that Naruto knows that he's not looking, he's not focusing on the road ahead as what you should be doing, because that's where Onoda's sort of that's where one of his his best qualities as a rider, and he's especially his strongest quality is knowing what's ahead and going for it. Because one thing I did notice was that the fact when people were especially when Naruto and Imaizumi passed him, those were the first two that passed him in that scene, and he never kept up with them like he would usually do, So yeah, I mean, I just like the things that Naruto says. It's not that he does say them, because I mean, that could just be there are plenty of stories and shows out there where characters are supportive, but they just say the most the asinine. Asinine seems a bit of a harsh word to use, a harsh term, but just the basic, you can do it, and that's it. It's yeah, okay. You know what I mean? It's better when it's actually something that makes sense, and by shouting to him to look up, to look ahead, look, we're here, sort of catch up to us, or keep up with us, you know what I mean? That it means a lot more that way, you know what I mean? So, and that's the reason why I like Naruto as a character anyway, because he could just be easily just that kind of character that is just over over hyper and all of that, because he's fiery and he wears red, but he's more than that, and I noticed that from the first episode he popped up. He was saying some interesting things, just the way he saw things, and yeah, the final revelation we got was that Inter High is taking place on Hakane's home turf, which is great. You know what I mean? Not only are they the favourites to win because every one of their fucking riders is ace worthy, but it's also taking place on their home turf. So I mean, that's great. You know what I mean? Home field advantage and stuff like that is something that definitely does like sort of reign true. You know what I mean? Depending on how much they've trained on it, which I imagine is quite a lot, considering they are an academy of aces. That if they take that route all the time, they know all of the little the little sort of stuff that would go unnoticed to people who have never rode on that track before or have done it, you know, minimal times. So yeah, that's great. So that's another fucking challenge to overcome as well. So yeah, I'm going to go out and say it from this point then that Hakone is going to win then. I'm just going to say it, come out and say that. And I think it just also makes sense from a standpoint of like they've been, you know, lifted up like as this. They are all aces, you know what I mean? So if in the first race we see them they lose, I guess it was just all talk then. You know what I mean? Sohoku's not winning. They're just not winning. But yeah, I mean we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, that is all I've got for this episode. There wasn't really a lot to talk about because, like I said, I think this was a sort of a transfer episode from arc to arc. So yeah, there wasn't a lot to talk about, but I tried my best to talk about as much stuff coming out of that as I possibly could. But that is all for this episode, so thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I've linked certain things. One of them is the Discord. If you want any information regarding my content, you can come over to the Discord. You can also come talk to me or the community as well. And Patreon as well. So I do have a Patreon. If you do want to support me, that'd be very much appreciated. There's a bunch of different tiers and rewards depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access tier for $5 a month. That gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunter x Hunter every week as well. So if you're interested in that, that's where you want to go. $10 a month, that's the full length. That gives you access to my full length library. Everything I react to gets a full length. Exclusive tier, $15. That is changing up a bit now, so just leave that out for the time being. Elite tier, $50. Every time you pay $50, you get a choice of a show that you want me to react to, and I will react to it. It will go to the bottom of the list by about 7 shows. Might take me a while to get round to it, but I will do eventually. But if you don't want to wait that long and you want your show to be reacted to next, then you want to get God tier, which is $100. But that is all, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.